Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Jack Lencioni reveals ideal date after talking with Susan Noles. Undeniably, Bachelor Nation has been playing matchmaker with contestants from Jerry Turner and Joan Vasso's pools of contestants. Golden Bachelorette Jack Lencioni is working his magic to get together with Golden Bachelor Susan Noles. He discusses the ideal date. Jack Lencioni made a big impression. Although it didn't work out for Joan Vassos and Jack Lencioni to go to the end together, Jack is a clear fan favorite. Almost immediately after introducing Jack to Bachelor Nation, fans saw a perfect match for him with the Golden Bachelor star, Susan Noles. During an interview with Ryan Field and Jen Matteries on Playing the Field, Jack Lencioni admits he would love to go on Golden Bachelor in Paradise or even be the bartender to crack jokes. Likewise, he shared he had a great time going through the Bachelor Nation experience. He made good friends, especially Dan Romer and Greg Lawson. Additionally, he says that Joan is a real class act. Although he didn't get the girl during his mansion stay, fans have helped him connect with Susan. He is playing the field after the Golden Bachelorette. However, during the Playing the Field, Jack Lencioni also says he is talking to Susan Noles. Jen Matteries asks if any of the Golden Bachelor women have piqued his interest. Undeniably, many Bachelor Nation fans think Jack and Susan would be a match made in heaven. Jack says, "We've been talking on the phone actually. I talked to her this morning." Ryan Field asked for clarification. "Who's that?" "Susan." When he confirms, Jen screams, "Yes." Both Ryan and Jen immediately cheered when Jack revealed they were working on putting together a date. Although their schedules are a little screwed up, they are getting the details together. Likewise, Ryan and Jen mentioned that Kathy Swartz wants Jack to hook her up with his good friend and Golden Bachelorette buddy, Greg Lawson. Admittedly, he'd had just gotten off the phone with Greg as well. They were discussing his home in Florida being threatened by the hurricanes. Undoubtedly, Jack thinks the double date would be a great time for all of them to get together. Jack Lencioni reveals ideal date after talking with Susan Noles. After Jen Matteries clarifies, "Wait, so are you guys going to go on a date, for real?" Jack Lencioni confirms it is in the works. Furthermore, discussing Jack's plans to date Susan Noles, he gave details about his ideal date with her. Ryan and Jen mentioned that paparazzi might be around, so they probably will need to keep it on the down low. When they asked about his plans, he said, "I think it'll be a beautiful idea, and maybe we get a beautiful restaurant, a little wine, a little dinner, maybe a little dancing. It'll be all good." Although he made a big splash with his pink sports coat, he thinks he will leave it at home to be more low-key. But Jen suggests a salmon-colored shirt could be a good alternative. And Ryan knows that Susan is a sports fan, so she would be okay if Jack wears his Dick Butkus jersey. Although all the details aren't set in concrete, it seems to be progressing well. But Jack says he has many women sliding into his DMs. Undeniably, he did this journey his way. In a world filled with over-the-top romantic gestures, reality TV star Jack Lencioni has always preferred to keep things authentic and grounded. Best known for his charismatic personality on screen, Jack has gained a reputation for being a man of substance, a trait that was showcased yet again after a recent interview where he opened up about his thoughts on love, relationships, and what his ideal date would look like. Surprisingly, this revelation came after a deep and heartfelt conversation with none other than Susan Noles, a well-known figure in the relationship advice space. The unlikely friendship. Jack Lencioni and Susan Noles may seem like an unusual pairing at first glance. Jack, with his reality TV background, often finds himself at the center of glamorous drama, while Susan has long been an advocate for emotional depth, intimacy, and communication. She has written multiple bestsellers on relationships, love, and emotional well-being, and has coached countless couples through some of the roughest patches in their lives. But their conversation during a casual sit-down for a popular podcast sparked something genuine between them, a meeting of minds that left Jack reconsidering what romance really means to him. Susan was hosting Jack on her relationship-focused podcast, Soul Conversations, where they were set to discuss modern dating, his experiences in the public eye, and whether his on-screen persona mirrored the real Jack behind the cameras. However, what started as a light-hearted interview quickly turned into a deep discussion about vulnerability, true connection, and the often overlooked aspects of dating. Redefining romance, Jack's reflection. After the conversation with Susan, Jack admitted that he had been thinking about romance differently. The two explored the idea of connection beyond the flashy dinners and grand vacations that are often paraded around in celebrity relationships. As Susan pointed out, anyone can book a fancy dinner reservation. What true romance is about seeing and hearing each other in the quiet moments. Jack agreed wholeheartedly. He explained that while he enjoys the glitz and glamour of public life, he has always felt that the most meaningful moments in his past relationships occurred when the cameras were off, and when there were no distractions. After reflecting on his conversation with Susan, Jack revealed that his ideal date would be something far more intimate and down-to-earth than one might expect from a TV star of his caliber. The ideal date, according to Jack Lencioni. For Jack, the perfect date isn't about being in a luxurious setting. It's about being present and creating a space where both people can feel completely at ease. It's about the vibe, the connection, Jack said during the podcast follow-up interview, where he expanded on the topic. I want to be with someone who's not afraid to be themselves and who wants to get to know me for me. Here's what Jack described as his ideal date. 1. A day outdoors for Jack. The ideal setting for a first date is somewhere in nature, away from the constant buzz of technology and the fast-paced demands of life. He envisions a date where they start their day hiking through scenic trails, perhaps in the mountains or along a lake. Being in nature strips away the distractions. It's just you, your date, and the world around you, Jack explained. He believes that being surrounded by natural beauty sets the perfect tone for genuine conversation. When you're walking side by side with someone, it becomes easier to talk, to open up. There's something calming about nature that brings down people's walls. Whether they're talking about their dreams or sharing silly stories from childhood, the setting encourages a more organic connection. 2. A homemade picnic rather than making a reservation at a swanky restaurant. Jack envisions preparing a picnic himself. I love cooking, and there's something really personal about preparing food for someone, he said. He imagines packing a basket with some of his favorite dishes, simple but delicious things like fresh sandwiches, fruit salads, and maybe even a bottle of good wine. The key, he says, is not trying to impress someone with fancy culinary skills, but sharing something meaningful and thoughtful. It's more about the effort than the extravagance. I'd pick things that are my favorites, but also maybe incorporate something they've told me they love. The picnic would be set up at a secluded spot, perhaps overlooking a sunset or by the edge of a lake. The idea, as Jack puts it, is to create an atmosphere where both people can relax, talk, and just enjoy being together without any external pressures. 3. No phones allowed for Jack. The biggest barrier to intimacy today is technology. His ideal date would involve a mutual agreement to leave their phones off for the day. We get so caught up in notifications and capturing the perfect moment for social media that we forget to actually live in the moment, he pointed out. Without phones, Jack says, the focus remains solely on the person you're with. It forces you to be more present and fully engaged in the date, listening to each other without distractions. It's about giving each other the gift of undivided attention. 4. A heart-to-heart under the stars. Jack's idea of a perfect ending to the day involves a cozy setup under the stars. After the picnic, he imagines them sitting by a small fire, wrapped in blankets as they share their hopes, fears, and everything in between. That's when the real connection happens, he explained. When you're honest, vulnerable, and open. He envisions the two of them lying back on the grass, watching the stars and maybe talking about everything from their past experiences to their dreams for the future. There's something about the night sky that makes people introspective. You start talking about the big stuff, and that's when you really get to know someone.